Hello everybody, and welcome to the virtual presentation of the Grand Jury Prize to this year's winner of the 2020 Sovereign Art Foundation Asian Art Prize. It's my pleasure to be hosting this from actually a rather rainy independent People's Republic of Yorkshire. But I thought that to jolly things up a bit, I'd post a picture of my winery in Portugal in the background. So that's what you're seeing behind me. And in fact, we have an art gallery in the top left-hand tower, where we're currently showing the finalists of the Portuguese Students' Prize. And our restaurant and bar is liberally sprinkled with pigs painted by famous artists in the project we did earlier. So this year we're very thankful to K11 Foundation, who hosted us in a magnificent museum-style gallery down in Quarry Bay in Hong Kong, which showed the art to its best. And I think, in my opinion, and those are the judges who really matter, we had the best and strongest show of 30 finalists ever, with every piece, really, I think it's fair to say, being of museum quality and an extremely high standard. So we're very grateful to all entrants for that. For those of you who are not totally familiar with how we work and how the prize works, I think I'll run through briefly how that happens. So we start by appointing nominators who are independent experts in art from countries all around Asia. And we ask them to find us the best artists working today in their country, or indeed in any other Asian country, and nominate them and encourage them to enter the prize. Our marvelous team of Beth, Amy and Tiffany then follow up those nominations and encourage the artists to enter. And through that process, we get around 400 entries from artists who are chosen by independent curators who have no commercial interest in the art. Our esteemed judges, who this year started with David Elliott, our long-standing chair, Jan Daly, who's the arts editor of the FT, Jayun Lee, an art historian curator, Mao Zhao Sheng, one of my favorite artists, who has a big work shown in the winery behind you, actually, one of his Last Judgment in Cyberspace pieces, and Zhu Li, another very famous artist. They were our initial judges, and they marked these entries out of 10 on the internet. We picked the 30 with the highest combined score, and those are our finalists. In fact, this year we had 31 finalists, as one particular artwork dropped out and then came back in, although coincidentally we were only able to show 30, as one rather beautiful work got stuck in Malaysia due to the COVID, and they wouldn't let it come out, leave the country, and we still haven't seen it in the flesh. But 31 entries, or 31 finalists this year, unusually. We obviously had great difficulties in arranging events around the final exhibition. We couldn't hold our normal grand finale and gala dinner where we'd normally hold a live auction. So we have been conducting group tours of small numbers of 12 to 24 people who get a curated tour of the finalists exhibition. Our judges also couldn't fly in and see the work if they're internationally based, so we appointed a secondary panel of Hong Kong-based experts, who were William Lim, who was a judge last year, Alice Mong and Elaine Lin. Thanks very much to them for all their hard work. So they came along and viewed the works in the flesh, if you like, and their scores were added to another round of scoring by our initial judges to provide us with a final tally and allow us to select the winner. So that's how it works. Our end game through all this, and an important aspect as far as I'm concerned, is to raise money for charity. And we do that by selling the works this year online, so please dial up the exhibition and bid generously on these fantastic works of art. You'll be grateful you did this in years to come, as these artists' values shoot up and make it a major investment for you, or a successful investment. And over the last 16 years, we've raised over $9 million US, which we've plowed back into the community, using the money to assist disadvantaged children using art as rehabilitation and therapy. And we've helped many thousands of children and transformed their lives. This is not a nice day out with a little art. It is a serious remedial activity, and we know it works. When we started this project 15 years ago, art therapy was not a well-known science in the Far East. It is now. But throughout this process over the last 2 or 3 years, Hong Kong University have been following us around and mapping our results, and they report back that we have received we have made big differences, and the results are absolutely tremendous. So we're grateful to them for proving what we already knew was the case, which is that art therapy helps, and we are helping the poorest elements of society in Hong Kong and around the region. And we can't solve all the problems, but we are trying to make a difference, and we're succeeding. And for that, we have to thank all our supporters who contributed either by making donations, and we encourage you to do that again, buying these artworks, which, as I say, we believe will be a great investment for you. And if it isn't, you'll have the pleasure of knowing the art on your walls has helped hundreds of disadvantaged children. And we need your money, so please help us. So that's the way it works, and that's the end result. And now it's my very great pleasure to tell you who the winner is. This is the grand prize winner, the jury prize. And the winner receives a check for $30,000 US. And this year, it's my pleasure to announce that it goes to Alex Seaton. So well done, Alex. Congratulations to you. And I'm hoping he's going to pop up and virtually accept the award. Alex, hi. On my screen, you've gone sideways, but maybe this is an Australian thing. You should be upside down, really, shouldn't you, if we're going to do this properly? So I'm delighted to welcome to your screens Alex Seaton, who's temporarily gone non-video, and Michaela Tai, who's the independent curator who was good enough to nominate Alex and responsible for his entry. So many congratulations, Alex. I'm delighted it was you as a winner.
Thank you so much, Howard.
I have one of your hoodies in my collection.
Oh, is that right? I wasn't aware of that.
I don't know that. That is proudly displayed at my house in Hong Kong on the bookshelves in my living room. And I've seen a lot of your work via my good friends, the Allens, who you know, I believe. Alan, yep. Yeah. And so not a great surprise to me that you came out on top with that fantastic piece, but a great delight that it's gone to you. So
thank you so much.
And many thanks for Michaela for taking the trouble to nominate this already internationally famous artist. So that's fantastic. So this is a piece, I know, which is a series of boat-related pieces. I presume you started with a theme, did you? And this is a continuation of that.
Yes, that's right. The Oilstone series, there was 5 of them. This is the last in that series. It was actually started as part of a larger body of work talking about the asylum seeker policies of Australia and the Australian government over the last 15, 20 years. And very specifically, the choice of a boat engine was used because it was inspired by a beautiful story about a Vietnamese refugee in the early 70s who was coming across by boat. It started to leak and sink off the coast of Australia. And a couple of very old school Australian old men in kitty were fishing off the coast. And they came over and picked everybody up and shepherded them back and forth to the shore and said, "Welcome to Australia, safe here." And that a Vietnamese voyager remembered that warm welcome and thought, one day I'm going to try and pay that back, pay that kindness forward, if you will. And he went to become the governor of South Australia, and currently is the governor of South Australia, Hugh Van Lee. And it was a way of saying thank you. And that in reflection and in contrast to the current refugee and asylum seeker policy, which extends no good faith and trust and no assistance. And it was in stark contrast. And then it became that the boat engine itself was a compelling object. As you're quite aware, with my work, I will choose a recognizable object, something that may be compelling for multiple reasons, that can speak to certain kinds of issues that I'm concerned about and want to speak to in my work. And this very last iteration is about the breaking and resetting of our own relationship with the environment. And of course, oil has a lot to do with that. Of course, a lot of human behavior and activity has something to do with that. And hopefully that's evident upon meditation in looking at the work.
And then you go and smash it all up, don't you?
Yes, well, this very specific one.
Having
broken and reset.
Piece, you then smash it to pieces and reassemble it, which I don't think that was an accident, was it? That was part of the process.
That's right. Yeah. The thing
Tell
is,
us about
strangely enough, I hope that to be the optimistic message of this work. In the fact that everything has a life cycle. Even humans, in terms of our relationship with the environment, in terms of geological time, the Earth is so much older. The Earth has been around. I think the parallel is made that we come along at 1 minute to midnight in the scheme of that time span. We really haven't been around on this surface of the Earth very long, and we need to give that respect. The idea of the regeneration is the Earth. We are making the Earth not comfortable for ourselves. And the Earth will outlive us and shake us all off. But the idea is that positive regeneration, the idea of looking for possibilities, that things can be rebuilt, whether it comes in so many different guises. Essentially, it's quite an optimistic sense of prolonged time with all of this sped up aging that I've done with the work by washing it down with acid and bringing out all the calcium salt crystals and things. And that ends up being a small, gentle, delicate, fibrous surface, which exaggerates the impacts.
Yes, I should explain for, although hopefully everybody's had a good view of the work as it flashed up on the screen, what you can't see too clearly is that Alex made this work, then smashed it into pieces and then reassembled it. So you can see the join lines and it does make it look ancient. And I think you acid washed it as well to give it an age patina as well. Patina is probably the wrong word with marble, but just tell us a bit more about that process, Alex, if you will.
I've been very interested in restoration. In fact, it was something that got me through university as a job, assisting restorers and working as a restorer myself. And in fact, in this time of COVID, I was meant to be in the American Academy in Rome on a fellowship there, looking at the long-term effects of man-made pollution upon things like the statuary of old that we know so well from the Western canon. Marble itself is calcium carbonate. It is so, in fact, delicate in the sense of absorbent and sensitive to the environmental conditions around it, almost as sensitive as, say, the layers of the icebergs, except in different conditions. And a lot of the statuary that we have come to know and love is deteriorating rapidly, particularly in the last 30 years. Essentially, what we know as stone, or what was at least conceptually concrete to us, is in fact more delicate than the component parts of your iPhone.
Excellent.
And hopefully that comes through with the premature aging with the chemicals.
It certainly looks that way, yeah. Right, we've been ignoring our lady nominator, and we need to hear from you, Michaela. Don't worry, there's no such thing as a free lunch here. So how long have you known Alex, and or at least how long have you known his work? In fact, two questions.
Yeah, I've known Alex probably, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years in a sort of more official manner, but I've known his work for much longer than that. And I've always thought he's been kind of a marble magician. And I've been to the studio many times, and even though I've been many times, I still don't exactly know how it happens that these big, large lumps that arrive turn into these amazing sculptures. I think it's just a fascinating ability and craftsmanship that is really unrivaled in current practices globally. But I also think what's really important about Alex is the fact that he is very community minded. He's very engaged with political and social ideas and their implications. And I find that to be kind of really important. So that married with the kind of materiality of his work makes his sort of very seductive work that he produces now.
Yeah. And Michaela, did you introduce Alec to this prize with this piece in mind, or just a piece in mind?
Just a piece, really. I mean, this prize is particularly important to me personally. I'm from Hong Kong, but I live in Australia. I've always lived between both places, and I really feel that Australia is part of the Asia Pacific conversation. And so I've been quite active in encouraging people to apply and nominating. So it's a great joy to see Australia recognised within this concept of the Asia Pacific and Asian art, because it is interconnected. We're not a floating island off nowhere. We're very much part of the region. So for me, this is, nominating Alex was an obvious choice. And it just is a real joy to see an Australian take out a Hong Kong prize.
Absolutely. Well, we've had some good Australian entries in the past, but I must say they were getting a bit thin on the ground, and it's always great to reconnect with an active nominator, because we know from experience that the more effort you put in, the better the entries that we get, and it does require our kind nominators who are unpaid for their work, apart from the glory of the association, getting stuck in and really pushing the artists into entering and getting us great quality artists. So congratulations, Michaela, on being the nominator who nominated the winner, and thanks for your hard work. It's greatly appreciated. And Alex, I know that I think there was a bit of we say backwards and forwards and uncertainty about your entry at some stage. I think you'd entered and then decided you couldn't do it, and then we worked hard to get you back in. I think you were aware of those conversations. I'm not sure how many of them took place with you or associated individuals, but we nearly didn't get you this year, I think.
No. I guess it's good to be transparent about these things. I actually had product failure. So what happened was that was all finished, and I sent you a set of beautiful entry photographs, and I was delighted with the work, and it ended up looking much the same. But I came in one day and it was on the floor, smashed on the ground through no deliberate cause of my own. It turns out one of the glues that we'd used simply had a bad batch when contacted the manufacturer. And so I had to reglue it all again. I wasn't sure whether I was going to make it into the prize. So it's a good thing that work was already looking that way anyway, because incidentally, I had to then reassemble a good portion of it again. And I wasn't sure whether it was going to make it in time. And then, of course, we were lucky enough to...
Do you think...
due to COVID, of course,
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I know I was able to get it in on time. And I thought, oh, great, let's just do it.
Okay, brilliant. Well, we're so happy you did. Do you think maybe having to do it twice enhanced the work, and it wouldn't have been quite what it was without the accident?
Actually, with sculpture, I have to say, the more time you can give it, the better. And in fact, I think it really is much stronger. Just a couple of minor alterations that didn't change the concept of the work, but physically, the stability of the work and being able to look at getting those better chemical reactions for that surface texture is a very delicate process. And just having a little bit more time to fix that up and get that to you in top-notch condition was really important. Yeah. Time expands to fill it. Michaela can attest. She's often tried to make morning meetings with me, and I can't make those. I work till midnight most nights.
Well, I'm with you on that. before the third
Yeah.
coffee, you don't really want to talk to anybody, do you? I think it's unsociable. Yeah. And yeah.
I did want to reiterate actually what Michaela was saying though. Uh, I think I first showed in maybe in, was it Shenzhen in 2007, and have been showing in Hong Kong and Singapore quite regularly since.
Yeah.
I really love the back and forth and discussion with the rest of Asia. And I think, yeah, that concept of the Australia being an island is absolutely ridiculous. We're so involved in this region and every part of it. And it's been a real pleasure showing. In fact, the majority of my work goes to collectors in Southeast Asia.
Excellent.
Not to Australia.
Right, right. Well, it's great to have artists of your caliber on board. It's what we aim for, and I think what we get. But I would say you're one of the more famous people we've had entering. So that's great for us that we're getting the caliber we've been looking for. So again, thanks to Michaela and obviously yourself for entering. So you said that the last of a series of work. So what are you going to be working on next, Alex?
I have an upcoming show with my gallery here in Sydney, Sullivan and Strunk. They also have a gallery in Singapore. I will be doing a solo.
They're ferocious, aren't they? Very nice ladies, but they're ferocious. You're well represented there, I can tell you that. If anybody can sell, they can sell. Yeah.
I've been working with them closely for the last decade. They've become firm friends as well. We work very well together, and they believe in my work. I'm proud to show them, actually.
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
I have an upcoming show, and staying with one of the, because of this time I've been quite busy, is actually a pre-commission. So it's going to a home in Adelaide, sorry, in Melbourne actually. And regardless, we've been looking at AR works, but often with augmented reality, what they talk about is creating a fictional sculpture or piece that you physically locate within your environment. I want to use AR to give context to the object around it. So often I'm making complete and finished objects, as Michaela can attest, and we install them within a location that can often lend them a much bigger and wider context. Because this is a sleeping figure, I want to take it into a dreamscape or give it a dreamscape that it might not actually have. And it's, at this stage, is entirely experimental, so I'll tell you later whether it works.
Okay, brilliant. And when's that show?
We're not quite finished, as with most technology.
Okay.
That'll be in November, at the end of the year.
November. Okay, you heard
last show for Sullivan Strunk.
You heard it here first. I'll be rushing down Singapore to have a look. I can assure you that. I'm looking forward to it.
Please do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I could hand over the prize, sort of. But yes, thank you both once again, and congratulations to you both once again. We're really grateful that you entered, and I'm really pleased with this one. It's fantastic, and spend the money wisely, and we'll look forward to your next show. And talking about spending money, do remember that although we aim to produce Asia's best art prize, and I'm damn sure we've done that this year in particular, we're also aiming to raise a lot of money for charity. So please bid on these works online, sovereignartfoundation.com. You'll see the gallery. You'll see 30 artworks for sale. They don't include Alex's work now, which becomes the property of the foundation and will be used to further our charitable aims. So thanks once again to Alex for that. The auction closes at 10:30 tonight. There's some fantastic works there with minimal bids so far, although we normally get a late rush. But grab yourself a piece of history and a piece of joy and help some disadvantaged children while you're doing it. And with that, I think we can sign off, and I'll return to my coffee. And Alex, please have a good drink on us. And Michaela,
cheers.
Cheers to you too.
Cheers, Howard. Cheers, Michaela.
Yeah, congratulations to you both. Chin chin and ciao ciao. And goodbye, everybody.